Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Tom Barfield Show. We're glad to have you with us. We're presented by Toe King. Thanks to Gary Hoffman and the team at Toe King for being our presenting sponsor. We're glad you're with us this morning. Toe King offering you 24-hour service, 24-hour roadside assistance. That's what they do at Toe King. And man, we do appreciate those guys for being our presenting sponsor. You know, Lark, I was just looking at our list of sponsors, and you know what the one common theme is with our sponsors?
What would that be?
They're all locally owned.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're all locally operated.
Absolutely.
Kind of a cool thing, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. On the program today, we're going to talk some golf. Jones Mitchell will join us. And as we're, about a week, I think, away from the start of the big league baseball season, Jered Sandler from the Ranger broadcast team is going to be a part of the program. So we got that coming your way on the program today. You were doing some baseball yesterday. I watched a little bit of it. You had a good series. The start of the series, pretty good series between Hill and McLennan.
Yeah, first 2 games of 4 between the Highlanders and the Rebels. The Highlanders won the first game 5-3. They were 5-2. They were trailing 2-0 late, and then they got 2 solo homers in the 6th inning to tie it up, and then scored 3 runs in the top of the 7th to come over with the win there. Now, in the second game, Hill got a 1-0 lead, and things were looking okay until all of a sudden, the bottom of the 7th inning, Hill has a 2-0 lead going into the bottom of the 7th, and they score 6 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning to win it on the mercy rule, 8-0 after 7.
So you played 2 7-inning games then?
We ended up playing 2 7-inning games. They played the other 2 games of that series on Saturday at Bosque River Ballpark.
Okay.
And I'm told that the first pitch for game 1 is going to be 3 o'clock in the afternoon instead of high noon. That way, the second game will be played some under the lights there at MCC. Those teams like to see if they can play under the lights, because if they ever get to the JUCO World Series, sometimes that's the first time they ever play under the lights at some of these junior colleges, because they don't have lights on some of those fields. They're always playing in the daytime. So
we do at McLennan, don't we?
Yes, we do. We do
both
play
baseball and softball.
Yes, sir. So anyway, that's the reason why they kicked that start time back on Saturday to 3 o'clock.
Plus, it gives some folks, that may have work a half a day on Saturday, a chance to get out and see some baseball, or may have some other obligations on Saturday morning, to get the honeydew things done, and then they can still get out and watch baseball at McLennan this weekend.
Gives me a chance to get my afternoon nap in before I have to go do play-by-play.
There you go. There you go. So that'll be this Saturday over at Bosque River Ballpark. That'll be fun. So if you're looking for something fun to do, we've got JUCO baseball for you. Now, Chris Berry's McLennan softball team is on a tear, partner. That was they won yesterday. 13 in a row for McLennan. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they were at home yesterday against the Hill Rebel girls, and they'll play their 4-game series, or in the 4-game series up at Hill on Saturday, and they will play at noon up there. But that's the Hill facilities are getting greatly improved. Randy Graves is their athletic director.
Okay.
And he's doing an excellent job of getting that program up to speed with the rest of the junior colleges around Central Texas. They're building a brand new soccer field. They've had soccer there for a couple of years, and both their men's and women's soccer team have been having to go to Fort Worth to play home games.
Wow!
But they're getting a soccer field built, and their softball facility, which is just beyond the center field wall of the baseball facility, is fairly new. And they're really improving the facilities there at Hill and getting that athletic program up to speed under Randy Graves. Doing a great job.
Well, as we were talking about softball and winning 13 in a row, Chris Berry's team is now 22-6, and they're 6-0 in league play. And I mean, really, they're on a tear, having won 13 in a row. I don't care if you're playing an inter-squad scrimmage. If you win 13 in a row, you're doing something.
Yeah. Plus, Chris Berry has that program going very well. For the last several years, they've been to the JUCO World Series 2 years in a row, finished second 2 years in a row. It's one of the premier junior college programs around the nation. It's easy for him to recruit players because of the facilities that he has and the winning program that he has. Plus,
but he works hard at it.
Oh, absolutely,
he works hard from
at
all over the country.
Yeah, he works very hard at it, but and is reaping the rewards of his work.
Absolutely, and the things that are important to players. You mentioned facilities. I mean, I was a couple of months ago right before the season started. I was in their clubhouse, and that's as good as any clubhouse there is.
Absolutely.
And he provides great stuff for them. They, not only do they take, they get budget. There's a budget for their program, but they also work very, very hard at fundraising for the program, so they can give additional things to the young ladies, and that's part of the enticement to come here.
Yeah.
Hey, you're going to play with elite players. You're going to win, and you're going to have the very best that softball has to offer under that program.
Yeah,
I've watched them fundraise for the last 2 or 3 years, and they get it done.
Yeah, those girls may get a box of chicken between games as opposed to a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Absolutely. I mean, there's and I'm talking about apparel and things like that. They fundraise in those capacities. They also offer online product to moms and dads and fundraise that way. They do a lot of neat things, and it's a year-round process to build those funds so they can offer those things back to the kids. So good for those guys. They're 22-6 and 6-0 in the league. One other quick note, Lark, we've got our opponent, or Baylor women's basketball has their opponent for the NCAA tournament. They were going to play the winner of a play-in game between Nebraska and the Spiders of Richmond. It's going to be Nebraska, and that'll be tomorrow afternoon, right?
Yeah, Nebraska beat Richmond 75-56. So tomorrow at 1:00, the Baylor women start their NCAA tournament bid against the 11th seed Nebraska.
So there you have it. And again, we were just talking about our sponsors a moment ago, and just listen. I want to say thank you so much to our presenting sponsor, Toe King. Again, 24-hour emergency roadside assistance. Gary Hoffman's team, 254-666-5484. Also, thank you to Lake Waco Golf Club, Morrison's Gifts, Double R Old Fashioned Hamburgers, Waco Body Mend, Benchmark Construction, JK Roofing, and Jasper's Barbecue. All of these folks, local folks, and we certainly do appreciate their participation and taking some ownership in our program, our brand new program. That are we 3 weeks old?
Barely.
Yeah, barely. I think tomorrow we'll conclude our 3rd week.
Yeah.
So yeah. And you know what? If you want to be a part of it, we'd love to hear from you. We certainly got room for you. I can assure you that. So, all right, we are off and running here this morning. And coming up next, we're going to talk some golf. Jones Mitchell will join us from Lake Waco Golf Club. We'll do that next on the Tom Barfield Show.
Morrison's Gifts, Waco's oldest family-owned gift store, wants to ask a question to the guys out there. Don't you just love gift giving? Does John Hart, Consuela, or Jellycat mean anything to you? If not, at Morrison's, we have your answers and your back. For 47 years, we have guided men and you ladies through the trauma of selecting the right gift for the right person. Come and see us at 4312 West Waco Drive in the Brazos Square Center, close to Jason's Deli. That's Morrison's Gifts, owned by a proud Baylor Bear.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatment, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
Being stuck on the side of the road is stressful no matter what time it is. Tow King is here to help. A locally owned and operated family-run business, Tow King offers 24-hour emergency roadside assistance with trained operators and high-caliber equipment for damage-free towing. Tow King of Waco is a company you can count on. Call Tow King the next time you need help. Check them out on Facebook, and remember, slow down or move over. And you're back with us on a Thursday edition of the Tom Barfield Show. We are presented by Tow King of Waco. We're brought to you in part by Waco Body Men Company. You know, you can take control of your health with advanced wellness and longevity solutions designed to help your body perform, recover, and thrive. And you can do that with our friends at Waco Body Men. You want to check it out? They got a 7,000 square foot facility. I mean, it is a cool place. Thomas and his team will take good care of you. You can visit wacobodymen.com, wacobodymen.com, and set up a tour. Go check it out. It's in the downtown corridor. And, you know, Todd Behringer believes in downtown, and they do a wonderful job down there. They're right off of Mary Street, and we've been through there a couple of times. It's really a cool place. All right, let's talk a little golf. Let's welcome in Jones Mitchell from Lake Waco Golf Club. And Jonesy, how are you? Are you in your office this morning?
Yes, I'm in the office. We had a little technical difficulties this morning. It's a beautiful day out here. I wanted to show you guys that, but we were having a little bit of issues. Yeah, I'm stuck in the office.
All right, today on the program, Jones, we're gonna get into some putting, and we'll talk short game, and I think that's what we're gonna do for the next few weeks. Isn't that right? We're gonna talk short game.
Oh yes, sir. Let's start with short game.
All right. Before we dive into that, let's talk about some of the events that are coming up. I know, twice a week we have seniors. We have them on the par 3 course as well as the regulation course.
Yeah, Ray Cameron's done a great job. They do Tuesdays on the regulation course and Fridays on the par 3 course. If you get here around 7 o'clock in the morning, throw your name in with Ray. He's usually here. And there's a discount if you play with those. They have a really fun game. They play skins after on the par 3 on Fridays. Another thing that we have going on tonight, we started up last week. We actually filled up as our Thursday night scramble. It's open to the public. You can pick one other person that you want to play with, as long as you guys both are not A players. So anybody 6 and under on a handicap would be considered an A player. And we also have a dinner special that goes along with that. So this is our second week starting tonight. We have a few spots still to sign up. And then we have a Waco Fire coming out this Sunday. It's a 4-man scramble, $100 a person, $400 a team. Great cause. They still are looking for some teams. So if you want to go ahead and give us a call, we still have spots for a few teams this upcoming Sunday.
You guys do night golf. Talk to me a little bit about night golf, because I know first of all, what are the challenges? And I would imagine from a player's perspective, this is fun.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. So we actually have a member out here, Ethan. We all call him Captain. So it's actually Captain's Glow Ball. He is a member out here that's like, let's play with Glow Ball. I'm going to buy this stuff for y'all. And he slowly upgrades his stuff. The only thing about night, it's really fun if you've never done it. We set it up really well. Sometimes we do a little bit of the par 3. Sometimes we do 18 holes in the regulation. Everything we turn into a par 3 hole. You know, max distance 150 yards. The two problems we have with night golf is the golf balls. We get the best golf balls we can, but they're kind of like not as great. And then also your depth perception. When the sun goes down, it's really hard to see how, where the ground is. So sometimes, you need to club up and hit 3/4 swing, but it's a lot of fun if you never played. Open to all ages.
I just sit there thinking about it. Just grip it and rip it. Let it fly and see what happens. Hey, Jones, let's talk about short game here. We a few days ago we were out there and we did a video on the short game. Let's check out the video that you did for us, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
That sounds good.
Jones, kind of walk us through what you're discussing here.
So what we're talking about here, you want to find out what hand is low. This is very Dave Pell says the bottom hand controls the line and speed, and a lot of people putting, you get nervous on these knee knockers, and so right there we're talking about keeping your head down and not moving your shoulder. So we're hitting a 4-foot putt here. All the MCC girls would know this as the plus 30 putt. We're talking about some grips here, and what you want to do is find your dominant hand, and I always say squeeze your dominant hand like you're shaking somebody's hand. Just a little bit more tension on the putt. And I've been working. My dad actually worked with me the other day because I've been missing these quite a bit. But right there, my head came up. If your head comes up, your shoulder goes back, and you cut the putt. And then if your left hand gets too strong for me, you pull the putt. So it's a little cheat. Keep your head down. You don't miss it right. Squeeze your right hand. You don't miss it left. Now, of course, those are air quotes. A lot of times, it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. We also talk about taking your time, because a lot of kids you see, do that one leg putt. And if you miss a short putt, it's just like making a short putt and going to the next hole and whipping your tee shot. So taking your time on these short putts. This is like shooting a free throw in basketball. All your eyes are on you. So go through your routine. When I was shooting free throws, Coach Trokum helped me years ago walk through my team. Now, I wasn't a very good free throw shooter. It wasn't Coach Trokum's fault. But going through your routine when you practice makes permanent, not perfect. So when you're on the golf course, take your time when you're practicing. You want to be very critical on yourself when you're practicing. But when you're on the golf course, you don't want to be critical. You want to be more creative. And so we're talking about this drill right here is we call it a plus 30 putt. It's the length of the driver away from the hole. If you make the putt, you get a point. If you miss the putt, it's -2. And you're trying to get to plus 30. Now, if you're starting it, you could do it -1, +1 to 10, and we work our way back. But Dave Pells always says a good putter is matched for anybody. A bad putter is matched for nobody. And the woods are full of long drivers, which indicates that putting is the key. We're talking about here on these short putts. If you don't see a lot of break, you want the heel of your putter going to the heel side of the hole and the toe of the putter going to the toe side of the hole. When you take the club back, there's a tendency to close the door, open the door, push the putt. And I think straight back, straight through with no break, the heel of the putter is going to the heel side of the hole, and the toe of the putter is going to the toe side of the hole. A lot of amateurs and people that are just starting from short putts, they have a tendency to take it really far back and barely come through, or they have a tendency to take it a little bit back and come through a lot. So with this, with putting, you want to be able to take the club as far back as you take the putter. You want to come through with it. And there is a little hidden cadence that we talk about of back and smack. And that back and smack can go for your putting, your chipping, your pitching, or your driver. It's the same tempo. A lot of young kids have a tendency to think they got to swing hard to hit it far. And you want to think 75% power, 75% control. And a lot of these kids also, they go, I want to get better. I want to go to the driving range. I want to hit 2 large buckets. You can become, if you do this drill 3 times a week for a month, even if it's just a plus 10, you can easily drop your stroke by 2 or 3 shots. We're going over the different grips right here. I have weird grips. I do a weird grip, claws and everything. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. I've seen several different grips from several really good putters. Whatever you feel comfortable with to make it where you stand up and you're like, I'm going to make this putt. And confidence is everything. Sergio Garcia, he's won a couple of, he won the Masters in 2007, the Players in 2008, but he had a lot of chances in the British Open to win, but he struggled with putting. And he talked about you got to walk up to the green, even if you're having a bad day of putting, you want to feel confident. And one of the things we do right here is figure out which hand is more dominant, your right hand or your left hand. So putt a couple right hand only, putt a couple left hand only, to feel what feels confident. When you do that from the driver length, you want to choke down on it because the putter does get a little heavy. But this drill right here, any MCC ladies that started, back when Dad started the program in '97, every MCC girl would know what plus 30 is. And right there, my left thumb's on top because it's something I started in college. It helps me take my left hand out of the swing. And so all I do there, and we also talk about, some people do left hand low. That was really big when I was a kid. And then you see it on the pros now. I haven't done it in years, and Dad had me do it inside 10 feet, again, just to take my left hand out of the swing. Let's see what else we're talking about. And this is one of those things to check yourself. You can kind of check. I'm right-handed, so I will pivot around my right foot with my left leg coming over. This is also to see if I have a tendency to loop my swing. So I take the club back, I step over my left foot. If I drop the putter straight down, it should be dead center where the ball would be if I was putting. Now, if I take it a little bit inside and I turn, you can see when I drop the putter straight down, it's outside my feet and the putter face is opened. So that has a tendency, you get to overcorrect that. You probably push that. If you take it outside, a lot of times you come down left, so that putter face is closed when you set it down. So really focus on straight back, straight through, and that's just something you could do to just check it. A lot of people don't get to come out to the golf course and practice their putting, but they could do stuff in their the garage, at their office. But literally, everybody says put into a coffee cup at the office. I never did that at MCC, but I did this drill when I was a little bit slow in my office, just to check to see if my putter face is square coming back. And I think we just put a couple here. Oh, we have 2 golf balls here for beginners. And I set those golf balls as a guess of how far I want to take the putter back and how far I want to take the putter through. So setting up golf balls on your outside, or maybe a club or a yardstick. We do a lot of yardstick stuff, and we want to make sure that we take it as far back as we go. We come through with it. Rory McIlroy and my dad are the 2 people that have really great putting strokes, but the tendency is when they putt, they take it back really good, and then they don't leave the putter pointing to the hole. They recoil the putter, and when you do that, you can develop a little bit of yips. What we're trying to do is develop muscle memory, so that way when you're out there and you're playing 36 holes or 18 holes, that you go back to your muscle memory and your foundations. And a lot of times from this distance, I like to hear the ball go in. I don't look up. The Sir Nick Faldo talked about, if you look up, that's where you open the putter face up and push it right. So from this distance, I want to hear the ball hit the back of the hole.
Is a lot to the short game, a lot to putting. I mean, now you probably can overthink it, but I would think that just when you're practicing, there's just a lot of drills and a lot of things you need to go through to make sure that you are, as you say, practice makes not perfect, but practice makes what?
Permanent.
Permanent.
So permanently practice something wrong is not good. And I learned that from Gene Shields back at MCC back in the early 90s.
Talk a little bit about practice makes permanent. I mean, because I think of all the things that we take out of there, just practice.
What I'm seeing with the kids, and I say kids, and this is somebody that's my age or younger, amateurs, where they come out here and they want to hit a large bucket of balls, or they want to chip and putt to get ready for a tournament. And they hit a ball and they rake a putt and they hit a ball. They don't go through their routine. And what you want to do is, at MCC, we wanted to bring a tournament atmosphere into practice so that when you're in a tournament, it feels like you're at practice. And in doing so when you are doing drills to get better, go through your routine, think of your shots. If I hit a medium bucket out here at 75 golf balls, it's going to take me about an hour. A lot of their kids, it might take 15 minutes. So really have a goal and a mindset, something that you want to work on, because when you get on the golf course, we always told the girls, we might go play at nationals at Daytona Beach, and we have a 100-yard shot or a 4-foot putt on hole 18, and the girls have never been there. And so we talked about they're not putting that 4-foot putt on the 18th hole at LPGA International. They're putting at Lake Waco, what they've been doing at plus 30. Kind of get that mindset of this isn't a tournament. This is what I've been doing all semester. This is what I've worked on all semester.
Jones, those guys and gals that are 92, 93, 94, if they're going to bust 90 and get that thing down to the 80s, which is, a goal for a lot of us, this 4-foot putting is critical, isn't it? I mean, this is where you can make up more strokes here than probably anywhere else.
Exactly. It's one of those things you can actually do that. I love putting now because I am to the age now. If I hit range balls, I'm a little sore the next day. You can putt for 2 hours and never have a problem being sore the next day. Your lower back might hurt just a little bit. But putting right here, this drill right here can lower your strokes without doing anything else to your game. Just build your confidence up, and also helps your lag putting. Because you might have a 50-foot putt, but since you have a 4-foot radius you work on, it's not a 50-foot putt. You can putt it 46 feet, or you can putt it 54 feet. So we always talk about not leaving yourself a second putt. So those longer putts, the tendency for you to make a 20-foot putt on the PGA Tour is 15%. A lot of amateurs think the PGA makes just everything. I mean, at 8 feet, it's 50% made. So a lot of the kids think, on the PGA Tour, they should make everything. When in reality, they only show the stuff, when Jordan's putting good or Scheffler's putting good, they show him a lot. He makes a lot of putts. They don't show the putts that he missed coming into the tournament or stuff. So having realistic goals, when you do that, another great thing with breaking 90, I tell students, hit your first tee ball. Forget about the first tee ball and play for par after you hit your first tee ball. So if you play for par after your first tee ball and you make par, that's an easy way to make a bogey without putting pressure on yourself. You still got to count on the scorecard, but the mindset, hit your tee shot and then play for par after that.
Great stuff. We'll do it again next week. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Give us the phone number to get a tee time. We better get in line.
Yeah, trust me. We're filling up 254-756-2161. We are ready to take tee times, get tee times early. Last weekend, it was a beautiful weekend. This weekend, you see the weather, it's 90s. We're working on the pool. I've been in the pool. That's where I was this morning in the last couple of days working on the pool. So the pool is getting cleaned and ready to start up. We're looking at trying to open on the 4th for, I know it's kind of early, but we have 90-degree weekends. And it feels really good in the water when it's 90 right now. Trust me.
Exactly. Jonesy, always a pleasure. Thanks for your time, buddy.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Great stuff. You know what? I think I never get in the trap, but I think we ought to work on sand trap maybe next week. Well, we'll see. All right. Thanks to Jones Mitchell for our golf tip of the week, and we will do it again next Thursday. This is the Tom Barfield Show. We're brought to you in part by Double R Old Fashioned Hamburgers, 18th and Herring, burgers, fries, shakes, soft drinks, you name it. And you know what's so good about it? They're not going to cook it until you order it. Yeah, there's no heating lamp around Double R Old Fashioned Hamburger. Monday through Friday, 10 until 4:30. Saturday, 10 until 2. Stop by and see David and Perry today and tell them we sent you by. Stay with us. We'll talk some Ranger baseball. We'll do it next. Since 1996, Double R Old Fashioned Hamburgers at 18th and Herring has been serving Waco's best burger. There's nothing better than a delicious burger cooked just the way you like it, with garden fresh toppings on a buttered bun. Add tots, fries, curly fries, or onion rings for a perfect meal. So what are you waiting on? How about Double R Old Fashioned Hamburgers today? Double R Old Fashioned Hamburgers is open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Double R Old Fashioned Hamburgers. And don't forget to ask about Double R's catering. Being stuck on the side of the road is stressful no matter what time it is. Tow King is here to help. A locally owned and operated family-run business, Tow King offers 24-hour emergency roadside assistance with trained operators and high-caliber equipment for damage-free towing. Tow King of Waco is a company you can count on. Call Tow King the next time you need help. Check them out on Facebook, and remember, slow down or move over. Family owned and operated, Jasper's Barbecue is serving up Texas-style barbecue meats and sandwiches and all the fixins. Enjoy mouth-watering brisket, ribs, pulled pork, and don't forget the potato salad and barbecue beans. Located in Waco on Elm Street, right off of I-35, open Tuesday through Saturday 10 until 2 or until the food runs out. Stop by today and enjoy the best barbecue around. Voted one of the best barbecue joints by Texas Monthly. That's Jasper's Barbecue in Waco. You won't leave hungry.
Morrison's Gifts, Waco's oldest family-owned gift store, wants to ask a question to the guys out there. Don't you just love gift giving? Does John Hart, Consuela, or Jellycats mean anything to you? If not, at Morrison's, we have your answers and your back. For 47 years, we have guided men and you ladies through the trauma of selecting the right gift for the right person. Come and see us at 4312 West Waco Drive in the Brazos Square Center, close to Jason's Deli. That's Morrison's Gifts, owned by a proud Baylor Bear.
All right, we're back as we talk sports on this Thursday. Tom and Lark, glad to have you with us as we get ready for the start of the Major League Baseball season. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to visit with Jered Sandler from the Ranger radio and television team. We'll do that. Next week, Lark, we're going to have Sean Tollison on the program. Tolly will be with us, and you remember the days of Sean Tollison pitching in a Baylor uniform?
Absolutely. He pitched very well for the Bears, and then when he got to the Rangers, he was a bulldog out of the bullpen.
Absolutely. Hey, let's do this. Let's go ahead and get to the sports news of the day, shall we?
All right. Let's first start off with soccer news, since the high school soccer playoff season is getting underway as we speak. There's 5 games on the schedule in bi-district soccer action tonight. One of those, or 2 of those on the girls' side. You'll have Waco High hosting Midlothian. That'll get underway at 5 o'clock at Paul Tyson Field there on the Waco High campus. And also tonight, China Spring is hosting Salado. That's going to be a 7 o'clock kickoff for the bi-district soccer in 4A Division I. Over on the boys' side, the Temple Wildcats are traveling to Waxahachie to start soccer play tonight at 7 o'clock. Then also tonight you have La Vega going to LaGrange. That'll get underway at 7:30, and that's pretty much what's going on in bi-district soccer.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, and
outstanding.
We've now been joined by Jered Sandler.
That's right. Joined now by Jered Sandler. Jered, good morning. Man, I do appreciate your time today.
Hey, my pleasure. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I apologize.
No, we're good. Hey, so I just, out of curiosity, are you still in Surprise?
I am. I'm in Surprise. Last game is Saturday. We fly back home after that.
Talk to us, before we dive into the club this year, talk to us a little bit about the broadcast and what all you're doing. I know that there's a lot of moving parts and you do several different things when it comes to the broadcast.
Man, I do Matt Hicks's laundry 3 times a week. Dave Raymond makes me drive him on weekdays. He has his other personal driver on weekends. Eric actually doesn't ask me to do any of those chores, which is really I feel like every day is different. Do a lot on TV for pre and post. We'll fill in when Dave gets some days off on TV doing play-by-play, and then when Eric and Matt are off, which together is right around half the season, I'll fill in on the radio side. But really just whatever and whenever. I've always enjoyed wearing multiple hats, and it's a blast getting to do this, and hopefully you can do it for a team that is a playoff team and maybe a team that makes a deep run like 2023.
Yeah, one of our favorites is David Murphy, obviously for obvious reasons. And tell Murph we said hello. I talked to him again last week, and I think he was on the golf course.
That sounds about right. You definitely weren't talking to an imposter if you were talking to David Murphy on the golf course. He lives on the golf course or at the buffet. The buffet line. One of the two. He's either eating or playing golf. It's pretty machine-like. Really impressive.
Yeah, he probably. You mentioned the buffet line. I think he could probably still throw the uni on it and go play some right field for you.
He's in great shape. Yeah, I mean, it's really impressive. You see some athletes in various sports, the minute they hang it up, they do all the things that they, prevented themselves from doing during their career, and they become a a different version of themselves. You're right. Like if David Murphy walked in the clubhouse, other than maybe some of the gray hairs and the beard, you wouldn't think anything of it. Like physically, he could still go out there and do it for sure.
So this camp this year, how different has it been with the new staff, new skipper, new staff? What have you seen different from Boach to this group?
Yeah, I think first of all, Bruce Bochy is one of the greats and helped this team win a World Series and played a huge role in that. I know sometimes people wonder, well, how much did this guy actually contribute? Whatever. There's no way that the Rangers win the World Series without Bruce Bochy's stability in 2023. So it's not, it's not that, well, there were problems and, Bruce Bochy was a part of that and Skip Schumacher's now, rectifying all those issues. I just think, you got two different people and two different styles. And the other thing is, it's a new staff, not totally, right? But you have a new manager and some new coaches, and they don't have the same loyalty to these guys that the old staff had, right? When you win a World Series with a group of guys, I imagine as a coach or as a manager, it's tough to forget that, right? It's tough to forget that, that connection and, the best version of some of those players. Well, when you have a new staff, I mean, it's not like Corey Seager needs to prove that he deserves a spot on the team or anything, but there's certain guys who, they gotta show that, they can be a flavor that Skip Schumacher likes to try. Ezekiel Duran, for instance, had a really good camp. He's probably got a little bit of a fire under his backside because, maybe Skip Schumacher doesn't like him the way that Bruce Bochy liked him, and he's got to go out there and earn it. So I think you got that degree. I also just think you got a really loose clubhouse. A lot was made of the Marcus Semien, Corey Seager dynamic. I think a lot of that was overblown. Were they the best of friends? They weren't the best of friends. But Marcus Semien didn't get traded because of their relationship. He got traded because the Rangers needed to try and shuffle the deck after 2 straight years of underperforming offensively. And unfortunately, Marcus was a part of that. But I do think that the vibe in general is more laid back, a lot looser in the clubhouse. Last year at this time, it was one of those things where it was right in front of us, but probably didn't see it until after the fact. It was a pretty tight group. And the minute they didn't get off to a great start in April, that didn't change. This group does not appear to be nearly as tight and nearly as, and I don't mean tight like together. I mean like kind of, just not loose, not light. And so I do think that there's a little bit of a different feel. Now, I don't think that is because Bruce Bochy is or isn't here, because Bruce Bochy is a very loose guy. He comes off as gruff and, kind of someone who could be in Yellowstone. But he's a loose guy. I don't think it has anything to do with Bochy. I just think it's the understanding coming off a bad year for this team and a little bit of a different mix of guys in the clubhouse that are contributing to this.
You mentioned Ezekiel Duran just a moment ago. The fact that this kid can play 4 spots for you, that's huge when you're constructing your roster.
Yeah, between Ezekiel Duran, Josh Smith, and Sam Haggerty, Skip Schumacher's got options, right? And it allows him. I know this isn't National League style where you're doing a lot of chopping and changing the last 3-4 innings, but you still, unless you've got a platoon neutral lineup, which the Rangers don't, you're still going to have to make changes throughout the game at times. And the more flexibility you have with guys being able to play different positions and just the utilitarian nature of it helps. It helps a guy like Skip Schumacher make some of these decisions. So, Josh Smith and Sam Haggerty almost certainly be on the team. I think with Ezekiel Duran, it depends on how the pieces fit. And whether that makes sense for him to be up here because, maybe they want a left-handed hitter off the bench. Ezekiel Duran being a right-handed hitter can provide some advantages in certain scenarios. Maybe they need a lefty to help with certain things. I think it's between Zeke and Tyler Wade, maybe for the 4th bench spot. And Ezekiel Duran has options, so that in some ways could work against them because they don't risk losing him organizationally. But I don't think there's any doubt that Ezekiel Duran, if he stays healthy, will have opportunities to contribute at the major league level. And they really need him to tap back into some of the power that he showed in 2023 because, that version of Ezekiel Duran has been missing for too long a time.
You mentioned that spot. What else should should fans, and what else are you going to be looking for in this final week of camp?
Yeah, I guess sometimes you can get a sense of certain things based on how Skip Schumacher uses guys. Whether it's a test for a reliever working back-to-back games for the first time, or coming in the middle of an inning, or maybe a player playing a certain position. I don't know that over the last 3 games in Arizona and the 2 games in Arlington, the exhibitions in Kansas City, that in-game performance, other than a guy getting hurt, really is going to impact decisions. I think that the larger body of work, and then a lot of the things that they see and they evaluate outside of games, plays a huge role. So a guy can go out today and be a fringe guy and have a 1-2-3 inning, and I don't know that moves his needle a ton. I think there maybe is a bullpen spot or two that's still up for grabs. I think the Rangers have 6 guys set in the bullpen. I think probably looking at a big decision with Carter Baumler, the Rule 5 pick, and maybe the Rangers are trying to evaluate whether they can make a trade to keep him and to remove the Rule 5 designation so that they can send him down if they don't feel like he fits. A guy like Cal Quantrill's interesting because he can provide a little more versatility in terms of length out of the bullpen. Is he going to find a spot? Luis Crivello is someone who could be optioned, which there's value there. You need some bullpen flexibility. You don't want 8 guys in your bullpen, none of whom can be optioned. And so Luis Crivello might have the inside track in that regard over someone like Josh Sborz, who can no longer be optioned, but he doesn't have an out in his contract until April 15th. So the Rangers can send him to the minor leagues. He can't do anything about that. Maybe give him a couple weeks to get going there, and then the Rangers would have to make a decision by April 15th with a guy like Josh Sborz. So a lot of these roster decisions, there's so much more than just, hey, who was the best in Cactus League games? Or, I don't want to say that spots aren't given to the best performers, but they also have to consider the big picture, right? How do they maintain organizational depth, not just to be ready on game 1 of 162, but to try and prepare themselves throughout the entirety of the 162 game season?
So, Jered, how do they with what you just shared with us? How do they define roles, particularly with the pen? I mean, how are you going to get that done going into game 1?
It's a great question. Some bullpens this time of year, you have a pretty good idea who your closer is, who your setup guys are, who your long man is, who you're going to turn to when you need a ground ball, runners at first and second and 1 out, and you need to get out of this jam, or who's the guy who can be your primary lefty specialist and then your secondary guy, and how do you balance all that? And no bullpen necessarily has all of those things figured out, and in some cases, I think a lot of teams understand what their options are to fill those various spots. But I think for the Rangers, the question is, who's going to be this team's closer? And Tom, I don't know that it's who's going to be this team's closer day 1, because I think that's going to be Robert Garcia unless we hear otherwise. But it's been more than a decade since the Rangers have had a guy have the closer's role to begin the season, and then the closer's role to end the season, and then to be that team's closer the following spring. And Robert Garcia wouldn't even qualify for that, because Luke Jackson was the closer to start the year last season. But just I share that to say this team has just not had a lot of stability at all in that role. And so in-season changes have just kind of become par for the course. Can Robert Garcia be the closer from start to finish? We'll have to see. He's going to have to show growth and bouncing back from a high leverage disappointment. Robert Garcia's numbers last year were really good. But when he was in a closer's type situation, it was probably a little shakier than you would have liked compared to maybe a setup responsibility. Chris Martin's a guy who, could close in terms of his ability to execute, but is he able to pitch back-to-back days? He thinks so. He's pretty firm about that, but to some degree, it doesn't matter what he thinks. It matters how physically it shows itself, and it matters what this coaching staff and front office thinks. So, I think it'll be Robert Garcia to start the year, but, Luis Crivello, Cole Winn, Leandro Lopez in the middle of the season. I mean, it's not like the Rangers have Mariano Rivera back there and you don't have to think about that role, right? There are a lot of options. And, if Vegas were to put out saying who's going to lead the Rangers in saves, you might have to have 5 or 6 different options on the card to truly lay it out there.
One of the arms that we keep an eye on in the organization is Cody Bradford. I think he's throwing pins. Where is he, and where do you see him as we get into April?
Yeah, I think he's coming along great. He threw a live bullpen session the other day. I think he's got another one coming up. And then, there's no reason to rush. And I think that, teams have figured out that, not that you need to be overly cautious, but, that 12 to 14 month timeline, unless a guy is just like A++ throughout the rehab, there's no reason to push for the 12. So I think with Cody, you'll see him, middle of the year. He's probably a little bit ahead of Jordan Montgomery, who the Rangers acquired, and Rangers fans obviously have a soft spot for because of the 2023 run. And then with Cody, it just kind of depends on what role makes sense. Now, I think long term, I still want to see Cody Bradford as a starter, a guy that will make 30 starts a year. I think between the ears, he knocks that out of the park. And I think his stuff plays, and I think he's got the aptitude to demonstrate growth. But this team is pretty deep in the rotation. So, hopefully they stay healthy. Realistically, they're not going to have just 5 starters from start to finish. We just know that's not how it works. But I think the timing of Cody Bradford's growth and progress towards a return might influence the way they bring him back. They might decide, well, we don't need to build him up in the minor leagues as a starter. Let's get him healthy and going 2-3 innings, and then we can bring him up and use him at the big league level in a 2-3 inning role, and then slowly go from 3 to 4 and 4 to 5 and, get him ready to start. But maybe they want to use those bullets at the big league level and use it in a multi-inning relief type role. It just depends, who's healthy, who's pitching well. But I would expect to see Cody, middle of the season. And, I know the organization is still really high on what they believe he can contribute to this team on the mound.
Final thought for you. A couple of new faces, just kind of get us up to speed on McCutchen and what he's brought to the organization. And then what can we expect when they pencil Brandon Nemo in the leadoff spot out in right field for fans? What are they going to be treated to?
Yeah, so we'll start with McCutchen. I mean, you got an adult in the room who's accomplished just about everything, individually. He's a multi-time All-Star. He's won an MVP. He's obviously spent a majority of his career with the Pirates, but, has bounced around a few other organizations in recent years. And I think that can be valuable for guys because it gives, them different perspectives. But he's a great teammate. And I think from a baseball standpoint, wouldn't expect to see him log a ton of innings in the outfield. He's not going to steal bases like he used to. I mean, this is a guy that, would routinely steal 20 plus bases. That's not his game anymore. But what he really has, leaned into is a guy who, while he doesn't have the power that he used to have, he still has the plate discipline that he's always had. I mean, he put together a string of, 400 plus on base seasons, of on base percentage seasons. And you don't do that without showing a keen eye. He's a guy that, his walk rate is, above 10%, well above the league average. And as his game has changed, as he's gotten older, that's become maybe an even bigger part of his game. He's not going to, in all likelihood, be an everyday guy. I think that right now he's probably a guy who starts against lefties and then, see how he does and then figure out what his role is from there. But the Rangers need to figure out what their lineup is against lefties. They need to figure out, who can step up because it is a very righty weighted or right-handed pitching lineup in terms of where their strengths are. They project to be one of the best lineups in baseball against righties. They're on the other end of the spectrum right now in terms of projections against lefties, but they got to figure out who can fill those spots. And so that's why they added Andrew McCutchen. Now, Brandon Nimmo, one of these left-handed hitters who, you expect to do well against righties, but one of the, the valuable pieces of Brandon is that he can hit lefties too. And when you watch him, it makes sense, right? There's certain guys who they just look comfortable, no matter who's on the mound. And Brandon Nimmo looks comfortable against lefties. You can tell with his approach. You can tell with the way he sprays the ball all over the field. And then the numbers back that up, right? He is better against righties than he is against lefties, but that gap is not considerably wide in recent years, and he's an above average hitter against lefties. So you don't have to worry about him being a platoon guy. He's going to draw walks. He's going to work the count. He's shown the ability to hit for some power. I thought he said something really interesting, a few weeks ago when he talked about, as he bounced around in the Mets batting order, he used that to shape, his approach to the plate. When he was more in the middle of the order, he added some more power. He's got 3 straight 20 home run seasons. In the past, he's been more, or in the past, he had been more of a leadoff type guy. And so he really leaned into the on base piece, right? And the numbers. One thing that he's added here in recent years is the stolen base component. He's always been a guy who's been way faster than what the stolen base numbers would suggest. He didn't have his first double-digit stolen base season until 2024, but he's always had the type of speed to be more than that, to be a 20-plus stolen base guy, 30-plus stolen base guy. I don't know if it's going to be that for the Rangers, but I would expect him to be a double-digit stolen base guy this year, especially hitting out of the leadoff spot.
Jered, thanks, man. Great stuff. We appreciate it and look forward to watching and listening. A week from today, right, Philly?
That's right. Yeah, a week from today in Philly, off Friday, and then they got 2 more that weekend in Philly. A weird start to the year. It's been a while since the Rangers have started the season with a week-long road trip, but that's what's in store. Nothing like some good East Coast baseball in March, where I'm sure the weather is going to be really cooperative.
I said I was going to let you go, but one more. Your thoughts on starting in a National League ballpark? I mean, it's still, for no guy like me, this is still kind of strange.
It is odd. And the Rangers have started against National League teams, I think now 3 of the last 4 years, right? The second time against the Phillies, Cubs, was it Red Sox last year, Cubs 2 years ago, Phillies the year before that. It's weird. I'll tell you, it would be a lot weirder if we still had, National League rules and on opening, you look at that lineup and you got the pitcher hitting 9th, because that's not the case. I don't think it doesn't have as much of an impact, but it is still weird. I grew up, it felt like every year the Rangers were starting at 9 o'clock in, at Central Time playing the A's or the Angels or the Mariners. And, that kind of stunk, but that's what, I was used to at least. So yeah, National League opening day kind of is our 3rd time the Rangers will start a season against the Phillies. They did it back in 2014 and then did it, like I mentioned, a few years ago. And then we'll do it again this year.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it was a school night and you were listening to Mark and Eric do the ball games. It was,
yeah.
I mean, you talk about great stuff now.
Yeah, I was just fighting to stay awake. I was like 12 years old, and it wasn't easy to stay up until midnight on a school night back then. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad that that's not the case for Rangers fans. They're going to be able to watch the game at a normal time. But yeah, it is a little odd, but it's a fun way to start the season. I think the Rangers are facing 2 playoff teams to begin the year. I think the Phillies. Everyone knows how talented they are. I think Baltimore had a down year last year. I think they bounced back in a really tough AL East. And, I think they're a playoff team in 2026 too.
Jered, thanks. Appreciate your time, buddy. Have fun this year, and we'll catch up with you.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Talk to you soon. Jered Sandler from the Texas Ranger Radio Network and television broadcasts. And, man, you talking about information. He's got it. And I just love listening to him. And, it just gets you jazzed up, Lark, for the start of the season next Thursday.
It doesn't take a whole lot to get me jazzed up for the start of Major League Baseball season. You know that.
All right. Hey, we're brought to you in part by JK Roofing. Again, another locally owned and operated company, man. I love these guys. They do such a great job. You can check them out at jkroofing.com or give them a call at 254-744-2211. Whether it's a traditional roof or maybe a metal roof, maybe you're looking to go a different direction. They can take care of it. Maybe you don't know if you need a new roof. Maybe you're like, I don't know. Give them a call. Let them come out, and they'll do the inspection for you and let you know, hey, no, you got 6 more months. You got a year. You had 2 years left in this roof. Or no, I think we need to move forward now. I mean, they'll share that information with you. It's a JK Roofing. Again, jkroofs.com. or 254-744-2211. Lark's got some scores for us and a look at the schedule. That's coming up next.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information.
Is your roof ready for the next Texas storm? Don't wait for a small leak to become a big problem. Call JK Roofing of Waco. Whether you need roof repair, a full replacement, or a professional inspection, JK Roofing has quality workmanship and dependable service you can count on. Locally owned and committed to protecting Central Texas homes and businesses. Call JK Roofing today for your free estimate and get the job done right the first time. Call JK Roofing 254-744-2211. JK Roofing of Waco. Strong roofs, honest work, and peace of mind.
Being stuck on the side of the road is stressful no matter what time it is. Tow King is here to help. A locally owned and operated family-run business, Tow King offers 24-hour emergency roadside assistance with trained operators and high-caliber equipment for damage-free towing. Tow King of Waco is a company you can count on. Call Tow King the next time you need help. Check them out on Facebook, and remember, slow down or move over.
Farmhouse offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhouse.com.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
All right, a lot of sports going on as we continue here on this Thursday. Lark's got the scoreboard and the schedule.
All right. Thank you very much, Tom. Of course, we mentioned the JUCO baseball yesterday, how MCC and Hill split. Temple played a doubleheader at home against Northlake outside of conference play and won both of those games 9-5 and 4-3. The MCC a softball team also winning 2 games yesterday, 4-0 and 5-3. Spring training baseball yesterday, the Houston Astros defeated St. Louis 4-1. The Astros are now 10-10 in spring training, if that means anything to anybody.
Nothing, not one thing.
Not
a thing.
We've
seen it too many times.
I know. They're going to play the Mets today. Texas and Kansas City played late last night out in Surprise, and Texas surprised Kansas City 12-3.
Why are you playing night games during spring training?
So the people in Phoenix, Arizona can come watch.
Do they care?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They show up big time out there, and they're playing Milwaukee today.
But they're all retired out there, aren't they?
Not all of them.
Okay.
There's a few that's not. Okay, play-in games in NCAA men last night. SMU knocked out by Miami of Ohio, 89-79. So Miami of Ohio gets Tennessee. And Prairie View A&M won their play-in game.
Good.
They defeated Lehigh, 67-55. Guess what? They get number 1 Florida, defending national champions.
That's okay.
Yeah, they're at least going to be able to play. A couple of soccer matchups that I did not mention earlier. Tonight in girls soccer, you've got China Spring hosting Salado. That's at 7 o'clock. La Vega is traveling to Taylor for a 6 o'clock first kickoff. Actually, they're going to play Taylor at Academy. That's where they're going to play that game. And then also Robinson is taking on LaGrange and Hutto. That's going to be at 5:30 this evening as they get the soccer by district action underway.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Hey, we're brought to you in part by Morrison's Gifts. They're at 4312 West Waco Drive. Stop by, say hello to Sally, and let them know that that you heard about it here on the program. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to look ahead to the Friday edition of the program. We do that next. Being stuck on the side of the road is stressful no matter what time it is. Tow King is here to help. A locally owned and operated family-run business, Tow King offers 24-hour emergency roadside assistance with trained operators and high-caliber equipment for damage-free towing. Tow King of Waco is a company you can count on. Call Tow King the next time you need help. Check them out on Facebook, and remember, slow down or move over.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information.
I had a panic moment running my hands through my hair, and that's when I found Keeps. Keeps gave me the results that I was really looking for.
I definitely felt a lot more confident once I saw my hair coming back.
Keeps has given me the control of my hair back.
Get your first month free at Keeps.com.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit Tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kitbag.
All right, tomorrow on the program, we're gonna give it a try. I'm gonna do this thing remotely. I'm gonna be in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where the Baylor Bears open up a 3-game set with the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Friday night at 6, Saturday night at 6. I love Saturday night baseball.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon at 1,
especially in Stillwater.
Yeah. So we'll have those for you over on the radio thing. So
have them order you a pizza from Hideaway Pizza.
Yeah, well, you know where I want to go.
I know,
but it's going to be too late.
Yeah,
I guess I could go have lunch.
There you go.
Yeah, Eskimos. All right. So yeah, we're going to be on the road. So we're going to try to do this remotely. It's going to be our first jaunt at it, if you will. So yeah, keep your fingers crossed. So we'll. But on the program, we're going to talk to. Or Lark will have the conversation with Alton Jones. We're going to talk fishing. We're going to talk pro fishing, professional anglers.
Yeah, we just had a professional bass tournament come through here a couple of weeks ago, and he was a part of that. I got some questions about fishing the two different lakes. They fished Lake Whitney and Lake Waco, and the different approach you have to those two different lakes.
Well, they are
two
very different.
lakes.
I think Whitney is a lot deeper, and I'm not
kidding.
It is.
Absolutely, it is.
So we'll talk. We'll have that conversation. And we tried last week, but we had some technical problems. But I think we're going to get Darren Thomas back on. Darren is the director of operations for Baylor baseball. And he's also another set of eyes and ears for Coach Thompson and the staff. Longtime former head coach at UTA. He was the skipper there when Hunter Pence was coming through. So we'll talk to DT tomorrow on the program. And, boy, this will really be fun. He's going to be remote in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and I'll be across the hotel lobby, I guess.
So just get together and do it
we could.
the same room.
But he sleeps late. No, I
understand.
All right, so that's the program for tomorrow. It should be a lot of fun. Look forward to it. Many thanks to everyone who's been a part of this one. Jones Mitchell, great stuff on the short game today from Lake Waco. And, of course, all the inside info from Jered Sandler when it comes to Ranger baseball. Thanks for watching. And, again, we appreciate you being with us. For Lark, I'm Tom. Have a good Thursday.